So when I was asked to do this a couple of months ago, I sort of innocently said yes, and then I was busy working on a set that I was going to do at the Music on Main. And then someone reminded me that actually this was St. Patrick's Day, and I was sort of obliged to do Irish. Oh, which reminds me, I have to take off my outside jacket so that you can all see that I have green stripes in my shirt here. Just, otherwise the leprechauns will get me, and I won't be able to get through this. Now that it's being recorded, I probably won't be able to get through it anyway, but that's another issue. Okay, so this is the Irish set, and what can we say about the Irish? Well, they're a much abused group, I guess, in the 1840s and 50s. They were the original targets of apartheid. A lot of signs said no Irish, and they kind of cleaned up their act over the next 100 years, and John Kennedy was actually the first Irish president of the United States, which is kind of amazing. The Irish have come a long way. But anyway, I'm going to go back to a song that perhaps describes why the Irish were not the sorts of people that you'd want to introduce to your daughter. And this song is called Finnegans Awakening. Tim Finnegan lived in Walking Street, a gentle Irishman, mighty odd. He'd a beautiful brogue, so rich and sweet, and to rise in the world he carried a hod. You see, it a sort of the tippling way, with a love for the liquor poor Tim was born. To help him on with his work each day, he'd a drop of the crather every morn. Walk full of Dana, dance to your partner, welt the floor, your trotters shake. Wasn't it the truth I told you? Lots of fun at Finnegans Wake. One morning Tim was rather full, his head felt heavy and it made him shake. He fell from a ladder and he broke his skull, and they carried him home, his coursed awake. They rolled him up in a nice clean sheet and laid him out upon the bed, with a gallon of whiskey at his feet and a barrel of porter at his head. Whack full of Dana, dance to your partner, welt the floor, your trotters shake. Wasn't it the truth I told you? Lots of fun at Finnegans Wake. His friends assembled at the wake, and Mrs. Finnegan called for lunch. First she brought in tea and cake and pipes, tobacco and a whiskey punch. Biddy O'Brien began to cry, such a nice green course did he ever see. Tim Mavorin, why did you die? Ah, shut your gob, says Paddy McGee. Walk full of Dana, dance to your partner, welt the floor, your trotters shake. Wasn't it the truth I told you? Lots of fun at Finnegans Wake. And Maggie O'Connor took up the job. Oh, Biddy, she says, you're wrong, I'm sure. Biddy then gave her a belt in the gob and left her sprawling on the floor. Then the war did soon engage, and woman to woman and man to man. Shillelagh was all the rage, and a row and a ruction soon began. Whack full of Dana, dance to your partner, welt the floor, your trotters shake. Wasn't it the truth I told you? Lots of fun at Finnegans Wake. Mickey Maloney ducked his head when a noggin of whiskey flew at him. It missed him falling on the bed, and the liquor scattered over Tim. Tim revives, see how he rises, Timothy rising from the bed. Whirl your whiskey around like blazes, Tom and I'll, you think I'm dead. Whack full of Dana, dance to your partner, welt the floor, your trotters shake. Wasn't it the truth I told you? Lots of fun at Finnegans Wake. Well, that's the Irish, I guess. In those days, when I was growing up, my favorite performers were the Clancy Brothers, and I'm going to try and channel the Clancy Brothers a bit tonight. And of course, the Irish are very contentious and quite political, and the IRA were famously obnoxious. But one thing about the Irish, they sure as hell could sing, and I think some of the rebel songs that I'm going to try and do tonight are among some of the best of the folk music that I ever heard when I was growing up. So this particular little song is called Johnson's Motor Car. And let's see if I can figure out this melody here. 'Twas down by Brunigan's corner, one morning I did stray. I met a fellow rebel there, and to me he did say, "We've orders from the captain to assemble at Dunbar. But how are we to get there without a motor car? Oh, Barney dear, be of good cheer, and I'll tell you what we'll do. The specials, they are plentiful, and the IRA are few. We'll send a wire to Johnson to meet us at Stranraer, and we'll give the boys a bloody good ride in Johnson's motor car." When Dr. Johnson heard the news, he soon put on his shoes. He says, "This is an urgent case, there is no time to lose." He then put on his castor hat and to his breast a star. You could hear the din throughout Glenfin of Johnson's motor car. But when he got to the railway bridge, some rebels he saw there. Old Johnson knew the game was up, for at him they did stare. He said, "I have a permit to travel near and far. To hell with your English permit, we want your motor car." Well, what will my lorn brethren think when they hear the news? My cart has been commandeered by the rebels at Den Loose. I'll give you a receipt for it, all signed by Captain Barr. When Ireland gets her freedom, boy, you'll get your motor car. Well, they put that car in motion and filled it to the brim, with guns and bayonets shining, which made old Johnson grim. And Barney hoisted a Fenian flag, and it fluttered like a star. Then we give 3 cheers to the IRA and Johnson's motor car. Well, that's the Irish for you. You know, they're always causing trouble, and they had a number of unsuccessful rebellions. And the next song I want to do for you is called "By the Rising of the Moon," and it commemorates, I think, the rebellion of 1797 or 1897. One of the famous rebellions that they didn't do too well at. But it's, again, like a lot of Irish songs. I think it's it's a great song. So. Sean Farrell, tell me why you hurry so. A Shabaka hush and listen, and his cheeks were all aglow. I bear orders from the captain, get you ready quick and soon. For the pikes must be together by the rising of the moon. By the rising of the moon, by the rising of the moon. For the pikes must be together by the rising of the moon. And come tell me, Sean Farrell, to the gathering is to be by the old spot by the river, right well to you and me. One more word for signal token, whistle out the marching tune, with your pikes upon your shoulder by the rising of the moon. By the rising of the moon, by the rising of the moon, with your pikes upon your shoulder by the rising of the moon. Out from many a mud wall cabin, eyes were watching through the night. Many a manly heart was beating for that blessed morning light. Murmurs rang along the valley to the banshee's lonely crew, and 1,000 pikes were flashing by the the rising of the moon, by the rising of the moon. 1,000 pikes are flashing by the rising of the moon. All along that singing river, that black mass of men was seen. High above the shining weapons flew their own beloved green. Death to every foe and traitor, whistle out the marching tune. And hurrah, me boys, for freedom, 'tis the rising of the moon. 'Tis the rising of the moon, 'tis the rising of the moon. Hurrah, me boys, for freedom, 'tis the rising of the moon. So I'm going to do the Spring Hill mine disaster, which was written by Ewan McCall, in the town of Spring Hill, Nova Scotia, in the dark of the Cumberland mine, there's blood on the coal and miners lie in roads that never saw sun nor sky, in roads that never saw sun nor sky. In the town of Spring Hill you don't sleep easy, often the earth will tremble and roar. When the earth gets restless, miners die, bone and blood is the price of coal. Bone and blood is the price of coal. In the town of Spring Hill, Nova Scotia, late in the year of 58, the day still comes and the sun still shines, but it's dark as the grave in the Cumberland mine. Dark as the grave in the Cumberland mine. 3 days pass and the lamps gave out. Caleb Ashton got up and said, there's no more water or light or bread, so we'll live on songs and hope instead. We'll live on songs and hope instead. Listen for the shouts of the black-faced miners. Listen through the rubble for the rescue team. 300 feet of coal and slag, hope imprisoned in a 3-foot seam. Hope imprisoned in a 3-foot seam. 12 days pass and some were rescued, leaving the dead to lie alone. For all their lives they dug their graves, 2 miles of earth for a marking stone. 2 miles of earth is a marking stone.
Nice one.
How much time do I have left now?
5 minutes.
I'm going to move now to a Dylan song, which I've done on occasion, and I'll remember to capo it up this time. I should tell you a little bit about this song. This dates back to the days when Bob was on his second album, and he was on the album cover with Susie Ruffolo, whose mother wasn't too thrilled by her daughter's company with Bob, and she moved Susie off to Italy to university. Bob was very sad, and he wrote some very, very good songs as a result of this. He wrote Boots of Spanish Leather and Don't Think Twice, It's All Right, and Tomorrow Is a Long Time. And so some of our better songs often come out of some of our more depressing encounters in life. And that was certainly the case with Bob. Anyway, this is Tomorrow Is a Long Time. If today was not an endless highway, if today was not a crooked trail, if tomorrow wasn't such a long time, then lonesome would mean nothing to me at all. And only if my own true love was waiting, if I could hear her heart softly pounding, only if she was lying by me, then I'd lie in my bed once again. I can't see my reflection in the water, I can't speak the words to show no pain, I can't hear the echo of my footsteps or remember the sounds of my own name. Only if my own true love was waiting, if I could hear her heart softly pounding, only if she was lying by me, then I'd lie in my bed once again. There's beauty in that silver singing river, there's beauty in that rainbow in the sky, but none of these and nothing else can touch the beauty that I remember in my true love's eye. Only if my own true love was waiting, I could hear her heart softly pounding, and only if she was lying by me, then I'd lie in my bed once again.
Beautiful. Thank you, Charles. Thank you, and thank you for your whole set. I guess I would say let's give him another hand, but he can't really hear because everyone's muted. Thank you, Charles. And yeah, I really love that Dylan song that you do. And yeah, thank you for bringing us your songs tonight. I'd like to tell everybody thank you for coming, and our evening, our formal part of our evening is coming to an end. Please remember that the session is still open for another half hour, however long people want to go for informal singing.